13 Stoic strategies to stop letting people make you feel small. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone is trying to make you feel small, like your presence doesn't matter, or your voice is drowned out? Maybe they brush off your ideas or belittle your accomplishments, as if they have the power to make you doubt your own worth. You might wonder, why are they doing this? But here's a powerful question. What if I told you the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop craving their approval, that's the moment they lose all control over you? What if the true power lies not in defending yourself, but in refusing to be affected by their attempts to make you feel less? In this video, we'll explore how the wisdom of Stoic philosophy can help you rise above the petty judgments of others, and why the strongest response is not always a fight, but simply standing firm. Let's dive in. 1. Recognize their insecurity. We've all encountered it. The subtle sarcasm, the dismissive attitude, the passive-aggressive comments. At first, it's easy to think you've done something wrong, to question your worth, to wonder why someone would act this way toward you. But here's an important truth. When someone tries to belittle you, it's not really about you at all. It's about them. People who tear others down often do so because they feel insecure about themselves. Their harsh words or actions don't reflect your value. They reflect their own self-doubt. Confident, self-assured individuals don't need to undermine others to feel good about themselves. Instead, it's often those who struggle with their own worth who try to elevate themselves by bringing others down. Think about it through the lens of Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The most powerful response to someone who belittles you isn't to sink to their level, to argue, or to waste your energy proving them wrong. The best thing you can do is recognize that their actions are a projection of their own internal battles, not a reflection of your worth. Take James, for example. James was constantly belittled by a colleague at work. No matter how much praise James received, this person would always find a way to undermine it. When James was complimented for his work, his colleague would say, "Let's see if you can keep it up." When he shared ideas, they were dismissed as not serious enough. At first, James took these remarks personally and began to question his abilities. But over time, he realized something profound. His colleague wasn't criticizing him because James was failing. No, his colleague was attempting to bring him down because James was succeeding. James chose to stop reacting. He didn't defend himself or argue. Instead, he stayed focused on his work, on his own growth, and on his own path. And guess what happened? Over time, the power of the colleague's words evaporated. The moment James stopped giving them the reaction they craved, they lost their power over him. So, how should you handle those who try to make you feel small? Recognize that their words are about their insecurities, not your value. Don't take the bait. Stay calm, stay unbothered, and refuse to be pulled into their negativity. And above all, keep rising, keep moving forward unaffected by their attempts to tear you down. When you do this, you're not just protecting your peace, you're reclaiming your power. 2. Stay unshaken by their words. It's a feeling we all know too well. Someone makes a snide comment, criticizes you, or tries to tear you down, and in that moment, your first instinct is to react. You want to defend yourself, argue, prove them wrong. But here's the truth, you are not defined by their opinion. In fact, their words only hold power if you allow them to. When someone insults you or tries to make you feel small, they're not just trying to make you feel bad. They're looking for something, a reaction. They want to see you get upset, question yourself, or doubt your worth. Because the moment you react, they win. They gain control over your emotions, over your peace. But when you choose not to react, when you stay composed and unshaken, you regain that power. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius offers us a powerful lesson. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In other words, it's not what they say that affects you, it's how you interpret it. So the next time someone criticizes you, remember this. If you view their words as insignificant, they lose their ability to hurt you. If you regard their insults as meaningless, they become nothing more than background noise. Their opinion of you doesn't shape your reality, you do. Let me share a story. David worked in an environment where he was constantly criticized. No matter how hard he worked, there was always someone ready to point out his flaws or nitpick his efforts. At first, David found himself frustrated. He replayed their comments in his head, trying to understand why they were so critical. But then he had an epiphany. Why was he giving this person so much power over his peace? David decided to change his approach. Instead of getting defensive, he stayed calm. When the person made a sarcastic remark, he simply smiled and moved on. When they criticized him unfairly, he didn't argue or justify himself. He let his work speak for itself. And over time, something incredible happened. The critic lost interest. Without the reaction they were hoping for, their attempts to tear him down had no power over him. So, how should you handle this kind of situation? First, remind yourself that their words are nothing more than noise. They don't define you. Second, don't react emotionally. Stay composed, stay in control of your emotions, and stay focused on your own path. Lastly, remember that your peace is yours to protect. At the end of the day, your strength doesn't come from how others treat you, but from how you choose to respond. When you remain unshaken, you regain your power. No one can take your peace from you unless you let them. 3. Respond with indifference. One of the most powerful strategies when someone tries to belittle you is also one of the simplest. Respond with indifference. Think about it. When someone mocks you or criticizes you, what are they really trying to do? They want a reaction. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or hurt because that gives them a sense of control over you. But when you remain completely uninterested in their attempts to drag you down, you strip them of their power entirely. Indifference is your secret weapon. It's the art of not caring about what they say. When you stop reacting, when you don't give them the satisfaction of your emotions, their words lose all meaning. You don't have to argue or explain yourself. You don't have to prove anything. You simply stay calm, unaffected, and most importantly, disinterested. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." In other words, when you've truly grown strong enough, you realize that you don't need to respond to everything. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every challenge needs to be met head-on. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain silent and maintain your peace. Let me tell you a story about Alex, a man who worked with a colleague who was constantly trying to undermine him. This colleague would make sarcastic comments in meetings, roll their eyes when Alex spoke, and try to pick apart every piece of work he did. At first, Alex was tempted to fight back. He thought about defending himself, arguing his point, proving that he was right. But then he realized something. Fighting back would only give this person the power they craved. So Alex chose a different path. He simply stopped reacting. When the colleague made a rude remark, Alex acted like he hadn't even heard it. He kept his expression neutral, stayed focused on his work, and refused to engage in the negativity. Over time, something remarkable happened. The colleague stopped trying to belittle him. Without a reaction to feed off, their attempts to undermine Alex lost all power. Eventually, they just gave up. So, how can you use indifference to your advantage? First, recognize that their words are meaningless unless you give them weight. Their opinion doesn't define you. Second, resist the urge to argue or defend yourself. Silence is often the most powerful response. And finally, focus on walking away mentally. When you stop caring about what they say, you free yourself from their influence. You don't need to fight battles that aren't worth your time. Let them talk. Let them try to tear you down. Your indifference is your strength, and no one can take that away from you. 4. Let your actions speak. Sometimes the most powerful way to respond to someone who belittles you is to do nothing except succeed. It's natural to feel the urge to defend yourself when someone doubts you or tries to tear you down. You might want to argue, prove them wrong, or explain why they're mistaken. But the truth is, words don't change minds, actions do. Instead of wasting your energy trying to convince others of your worth, let your success speak for itself. The moment you stop engaging in their negativity and focus on your own journey, something remarkable happens. Your growth, your achievements, and your progress will invalidate their words. The more you succeed, the less their attempts to bring you down matter. You prove them wrong, not with your words, but with your actions. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, you don't need to explain what you believe, who you are, or what you're capable of. You simply need to live it out. Your actions, your consistency, and your success will speak volumes, making their criticisms irrelevant. Take Daniel's story. Daniel was constantly underestimated by the people around him. They doubted his abilities, mocked his ambitions, and tried to make him feel small. At first, he was tempted to argue, to defend his ideas, and to explain why he was capable of achieving his goals. But then he made a decision. Instead of talking about what he wanted to accomplish, he would show it through his actions. Daniel focused all his energy on improving himself, working quietly behind the scenes. And over time, something incredible happened. His achievements started to speak for themselves. The very people who once doubted him were now watching in awe, curious about how he managed to succeed. So, how can you let your actions do the talking? First, stop explaining yourself. You don't owe anyone a justification for who you are or what you're capable of. Second, pour your energy into growth. Let them waste their time criticizing you while you work on improving yourself. And finally, trust that success will speak louder than any words ever could. At the end of the day, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your results will say everything that needs to be said. Keep moving forward, keep growing, and let your actions be the ultimate response to those who doubt you. Because the greatest revenge against those who belittle you is simply proving them wrong without saying a word. 5. Set firm boundaries. One of the most essential strategies for protecting your peace and ensuring that others cannot make you feel small is setting firm boundaries. This is one of the greatest ways to reclaim control when people try to belittle you or undermine your confidence. The truth is, when you fail to set boundaries, you're allowing others to dictate how you feel about yourself. They will continue to test your limits, pushing and pushing to see how much they can get away with. But when you establish clear, firm boundaries, you send a message that you will not tolerate disrespect. And this is where you regain your power. Respecting yourself means not allowing others to devalue you. Too often, people continue to engage with toxic individuals simply because they don't want to create conflict. They fear pushing others away or standing up for themselves. But here's the Stoic truth. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. When you seek approval from others who don't respect you, you're handing over your power. By tolerating toxic behavior, you're sacrificing your own peace. Epictetus said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." This is a powerful reminder that if we're constantly seeking validation from people who don't respect us, we're surrendering our own worth to them. By setting boundaries, we reclaim control over our own self-esteem and peace of mind. Let me tell you about Sarah, who experienced this firsthand. She had a friend who constantly belittled her. Every time Sarah shared her dreams or goals, this friend would respond with dismissive comments like, "Oh, that's cute," or "I guess that's impressive for you." For a long time, Sarah tried to laugh it off, thinking she might be overreacting. But deep down, she knew this wasn't true friendship. It was someone who enjoyed making her feel small. One day, Sarah made the decision to stop engaging. She stopped explaining herself, and most importantly, she distanced herself from the negativity. It wasn't easy, but as soon as she stopped tolerating disrespect, a weight lifted from her shoulders. She no longer had to prove herself to someone who was never going to respect her in the first place. So, how do you set firm boundaries in your own life? First, recognize that you don't owe anyone access to your energy. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay. Second, stop explaining yourself to people who don't respect you. Boundaries don't need justification. And finally, don't be afraid to walk away when necessary. Distance can be one of the most powerful ways to protect your peace. At the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If someone is constantly making you feel small, respect yourself enough to walk away. When you set boundaries, you reclaim your power and protect your peace, making it impossible for anyone to control how you feel about yourself. 6. Turn their negativity into fuel. One of the most transformative mindsets you can adopt is to use the negativity of others as fuel for your own growth. When someone belittles you, doubts you, or tries to make you feel small, you have two choices. You can let their words discourage you, or you can let them drive you to prove them wrong. The weak might allow negativity to drag them down, but the strong use it as motivation to push forward, to work harder, to rise above. Here's the key truth. The best way to silence doubters isn't by arguing with them. It's by succeeding. People who try to bring you down are often projecting their own insecurities. They want to see you fail because it makes them feel better about their own lack of effort. But when you take their negativity and turn it into fuel for your ambition, you do something they never expected. You rise above them. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Every challenge, every obstacle, every negative comment is an opportunity to grow. Just as lifting weights makes your muscles stronger, facing adversity strengthens your mind. Those who doubt you are unknowingly helping you become stronger every time they say you can't. Every time they try to break your spirit, you use it to sharpen your focus. Let's take the story of Jake, a man who always had people doubting him. When he told his family that he wanted to start his own business, they laughed at him. "You running a business? Good luck with that." When he shared his ambitions with friends, they told him to just be realistic. But instead of letting their words discourage him, Jake made a choice. He would use their doubt as motivation. Every insult, every piece of negativity became fuel to push harder, to prove them wrong, to build his success. And over time, something incredible happened. As Jake's business grew, the same people who once doubted him were now coming to him for advice. They wanted to know how he did it, how he succeeded despite their doubts. He had taken their negativity and turned it into something powerful. So, how can you use negativity as fuel? First, stop taking it personally. The doubts and insults people throw your way reflect their insecurities, not your worth. Second, reframe every criticism or insult as motivation. Instead of feeling discouraged, say, "Thank you for the extra energy. I'll use it to prove you wrong." Lastly, focus on results, not revenge. Don't waste time trying to convince people to believe in you. Let your achievements do the talking. At the end of the day, negativity only has the power you give it. So when someone tries to bring you down, don't sink to their level. Use their words to fuel your rise, to push you higher than they ever thought possible. Let their doubt be the fire that drives you, and watch how unstoppable you become. 7. Surround yourself with uplifting people. One of the most important choices you'll ever make is who you allow into your life. The people around you either build you up or tear you down. They either push you toward growth or hold you back with negativity. And here's the simple truth. The right people in your life will recognize your value without ever needing to make you feel small to feel good about themselves. If someone constantly belittles you, makes you doubt yourself, or drains your energy, it's not your job to convince them of your worth. It's your job to walk away and find better company. Your environment has a profound impact on who you are, how you feel, and the way you see the world. If you surround yourself with people who uplift you, inspire you, and challenge you to be better, you'll naturally grow. But if you stay around those who undermine you, feed you doubt, and make you feel insignificant, that negativity seeps into your psyche, whether you realize it or not. Over time, it affects your mindset, your confidence, and even your ability to achieve your goals. Seneca once wisely said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." In other words, choose your circle wisely. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, who celebrate your wins without jealousy, and who encourage you to keep going when things get tough. The people you surround yourself with should not make you question your worth. They should remind you of it. Take Emily, for instance. She spent years surrounded by people who doubted her. Every time she shared her dreams, her friends would respond with skepticism. "Are you sure you can handle that? That sounds risky. Maybe you should play it safe." While they never insulted her directly, their words were enough to plant seeds of doubt in her mind. For years, Emily hesitated, afraid to chase after what she truly wanted because of the negative energy around her. But one day, Emily made a decision. She changed her circle. She started spending time with people who believed in her, who pushed her to aim higher, who supported her ambitions instead of questioning them. The difference was life-changing. Emily started taking action, making bold moves, and stepping into her potential with newfound confidence. So, how do you surround yourself with the right people? First, pay attention to how people make you feel. Do they lift you up or bring you down? Second, let go of toxic relationships. If someone consistently makes you feel small, they don't deserve access to your energy. And finally, seek out those who inspire you, people who challenge you, encourage you, and genuinely want to see you succeed. At the end of the day, you are a reflection of the people you keep around you. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with those who uplift you and watch how far you go. Because the right circle doesn't just make you feel supported, it makes you unstoppable. 8. Remember your own worth. One of the most powerful truths you must internalize is this: no one can make you feel small unless you allow them to. The way others treat you is always a reflection of them, not you. But how you respond to their treatment, that's a reflection of you. If someone tries to belittle you, dismiss your value, or make you doubt yourself, remember that the only way they succeed in making you feel less is if you let their words take root in your mind. People can say whatever they want, but their words only have power if you choose to give them permission. If someone tells you that you're unworthy, does that make it true? No. If they claim you're not capable, does that suddenly erase all your skills and potential? Absolutely not. Their words hold no real power unless you decide to believe them. That's where self-respect comes in. When you truly know your worth, the opinions of others become nothing more than noise. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." Your value isn't determined by the opinions of others. It's determined by what you strive for. If you are committed to becoming the best version of yourself, if you're working towards something meaningful, then nothing anyone says can diminish your worth. Your value is yours to define, not theirs to debate. Let me tell you the story of Ryan. Ryan worked in an environment where he was constantly underestimated. No matter how much effort he put in, there was always someone ready to criticize his work, to downplay his achievements, to make him feel like he wasn't good enough. At first, Ryan allowed their opinions to affect him. He questioned himself. He wondered if maybe they were right, if he wasn't good enough. But then he had a realization. Why was he giving these people so much power over his confidence? Why was he letting their opinions shape how he saw himself? That's when everything changed. Ryan stopped seeking validation from others. He stopped worrying about proving himself to people who didn't deserve his energy. Instead, he focused on his own goals and his own growth. And guess what? The moment he stopped needing their approval was the moment he became unstoppable. So, how do you remember your worth? First, remind yourself that other people's opinions do not define you. You are not what others say about you. You are what you believe about yourself. Second, build your self-respect through action. Confidence comes from showing up for yourself, pushing through doubts, and proving to yourself that you are capable. Finally, refuse to shrink yourself for anyone. If someone tries to make you feel small, it's because they see something in you that intimidates them. Stand tall anyway. At the end of the day, your worth is yours to decide. No one can take it from you unless you let them. So stop seeking validation. Stop letting their words affect you. Start carrying yourself with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what they bring to the table. When you truly understand your own worth, no critic, no doubter, no negative voice can ever make you feel small again. 9. Stay true to yourself and keep growing. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a powerful truth. Your peace, your happiness, and your growth are yours to control. External forces, such as the judgments of others or their attempts to belittle you, only hold power over you if you let them. But the moment you decide to remain true to your values, your principles, and your journey, nothing can sway you. You are the master of your emotions, your actions, and your thoughts. When people attempt to make you feel small, they often want you to doubt yourself, to shrink, to stop pursuing your goals. But the key is to not let their negativity dictate your path. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself, whether that means achieving your goals, mastering your craft, or simply becoming more at peace with who you are. Your growth, your dedication, and your pursuit of excellence will always overshadow their petty criticisms. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is a call to define your purpose, to understand what kind of person you want to be, and then take deliberate action every single day to become that person. Let's consider Sarah, a woman I know who had always been the subject of negativity from certain people in her life. They often made her feel like she wasn't good enough to achieve her dreams. At first, she allowed their opinions to affect her. She questioned her abilities and doubted her worth. But Sarah eventually realized that she had been handing her power over to those who didn't believe in her. She decided to reclaim that power. Instead of allowing the negativity to stop her, Sarah channeled it into motivation. She kept her eyes on her goals and used the criticism as fuel to work harder and smarter. Over time, she achieved what others thought was impossible, and in the end, she realized that their judgment had no place in her life. It was her own growth, her own journey that mattered most. So, how do you stay true to yourself? First, define who you want to be and set your goals accordingly. Let your actions align with your principles and never compromise on your values. Second, do not let the voices of negativity sway you. Their opinions are based on their limited perspectives, not on your truth. And finally, keep growing. Embrace every opportunity to improve and evolve, knowing that your growth is the ultimate answer to anyone who tries to make you feel small. The greatest power lies in your ability to stay grounded in your purpose and to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles or the opinions of others. When you choose to rise above their attempts to tear you down, you prove not only to them, but to yourself that no one can define your worth except you. 10. Embrace your inner strength and rise above. When faced with challenges or when others try to diminish your worth, remember that your strength is not only in how you react, but also in your ability to rise above. It's easy to get caught up in the need to defend yourself, to explain who you are or why you deserve to be respected. But true strength lies in the ability to remain calm, to stay true to your path, and to keep moving forward without seeking validation or approval from those who try to undermine you. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can always control how we respond. People will try to belittle you, to push you down, and to make you question your worth. But none of this can touch you unless you allow it. The key to rising above is to understand that their words and actions are not a reflection of who you are. They are a reflection of them. And when you stop engaging with their negativity, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your peace, and your personal journey. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The stress, the hurt, the anger we often feel when someone belittles us are emotions that arise when we allow those external forces to have power over our minds. When we choose to rise above, we stop feeding these emotions and refuse to let them define us. Take the story of Lucas. Lucas worked in an environment where colleagues often made dismissive remarks about his ideas, making him feel inferior. At first, he would react, arguing, defending himself, explaining his worth. But over time, Lucas realized that the more he tried to prove himself, the more energy he was giving to people who didn't respect him. So he made a change. Instead of reacting, he chose to stay calm, to focus on his work, and to not let their words disturb his peace. He realized that the best way to handle the situation was not by lowering himself to their level, but by continuing to move forward, undeterred by their negativity. Through this shift, Lucas found that his peace and confidence grew stronger. He stopped seeking approval from those who sought to diminish him and started focusing solely on what he could control: his own actions and his own growth. And in time, the colleagues who once tried to belittle him saw his unwavering focus, and their attempts to undermine him lost all power. So, how do you embrace your inner strength and rise above? First, focus on what you can control: your actions, your reactions, and your mindset. Don't let someone else's attempt to belittle you pull you off your path. Second, remember that your strength comes from within. No external force can touch your peace unless you allow it. Finally, continue to move forward with confidence. The more you focus on your growth, the more you prove that no one can stop you. At the end of the day, remember that you hold the power to define your worth. When you rise above the negativity of others and remain true to yourself, you demonstrate a strength that can never be shaken. No one can make you feel small unless you let them. So keep going, stay focused, and watch how unstoppable you become when you choose to stand tall and embrace your true strength. 11. Stay focused on your own growth. In a world full of distractions and external noise, it's easy to lose sight of your own path, especially when others try to make you feel small. When someone belittles you or doubts your abilities, it's easy to get caught up in trying to prove them wrong or defend your worth. But here's a powerful Stoic lesson: don't get distracted by the opinions of others. Keep your focus on your own growth, your own progress, and your own goals. When you stay focused on becoming the best version of yourself, nothing can shake you. The opinions of others become insignificant. The negative comments fade into the background because you're no longer letting them dictate your emotions or actions. Instead of wasting energy on people who seek to bring you down, invest that energy into improving yourself. The more you focus on your growth, the less power their words have over you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This means that the thoughts you choose to entertain, the ones you focus on, will shape your reality. If you allow negative opinions and criticism to consume you, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and frustration. But if you choose to focus on your growth, on your development, and on your progress, you build a solid foundation of self-confidence and peace. Let's consider the example of Maria. Maria had always been passionate about her career, but there was a group of colleagues who constantly tried to belittle her ideas. They made snide remarks about her work, and at times, it made her question whether she was on the right path. For a while, she let their opinions get to her, but then she had an important realization. She was letting them distract her from her true purpose. Maria decided to stop engaging in their negativity. Instead of focusing on their opinions, she shifted her attention back to what mattered most, her own growth and her own journey. She started dedicating more time to improving her skills, taking on new challenges, and pushing herself to be better each day. Over time, her work spoke for itself. Her success, her achievements, and her growth became undeniable, and those who once doubted her began to take notice. So, how can you stay focused on your own growth? First, set clear goals for yourself and make consistent progress toward them. Let your actions reflect your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Second, let go of the need to defend yourself or prove others wrong. Instead, use their negativity as fuel to keep moving forward. And finally, remember that your peace and happiness come from within. Don't let the opinions of others pull you off course. At the end of the day, your growth is what truly matters. Keep investing in yourself, keep learning, and keep improving. The more you focus on your own journey, the less power others have to distract you or make you feel small. And in the end, it's your growth and your success that will speak louder than any negative comment ever could. Keep growing and let your achievements do the talking. 12. Own your confidence and power. One of the most profound lessons you can take from Stoic philosophy is that no one can make you feel small unless you allow them to. Your confidence and power are within you, and they're not dependent on external validation or approval. When others try to undermine you, belittle your achievements, or make you feel insignificant, it's essential to remember that you are in charge of your own self-worth. The moment you stop seeking their approval is the moment you reclaim your power. The key to true confidence lies in understanding that your value is inherent, not something to be earned or determined by the opinions of others. Confident individuals don't seek to make others feel small to elevate themselves. They understand that their worth is intrinsic. When you realize this, you free yourself from the need to prove anything to anyone. Confidence comes from within, and it is strengthened by your ability to remain unwavering in the face of adversity. Seneca once said, "A great mind is one that is not disturbed by external circumstances." In other words, when you develop the inner strength to remain steadfast in who you are, the negative words or actions of others have no power over you. They might try to shake you, but you remain unmoved. This is true confidence, not the kind that comes from outward validation, but the kind that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and being unwavering in your path. Take the story of Jack, a man I know who had to deal with constant criticism from people around him. Jack worked hard, but no matter what he did, some colleagues found ways to tear him down. At first, Jack felt discouraged. He questioned his abilities, wondering if maybe there was some truth in the criticism. But after some reflection, he realized that his confidence was tied to their opinions. As long as he let their negativity define him, he would never feel secure in his own worth. So Jack made a shift. He stopped seeking validation from those who constantly put him down. He chose to ignore their criticism and focused instead on his own progress and growth. Over time, he began to realize that the more he believed in himself, the less their words affected him. His confidence grew stronger because he stopped looking outside of himself for confirmation of his worth. So, how do you own your confidence and power? First, stop seeking approval from others. Your worth is not for others to determine. It's for you to recognize and define. Second, focus on building your self-respect through consistent action. Confidence comes from showing up for yourself, putting in the work, and continuing to grow. And finally, never let anyone diminish you. Stand firm in who you are, and know that no external force can shake the confidence that comes from within. At the end of the day, confidence is about owning your own power. When you stop relying on others to validate your worth, you free yourself to live authentically. And when you live authentically, there's nothing that can make you feel small again. 13. Embrace the freedom of letting go. One of the most liberating aspects of Stoic philosophy is the realization that true freedom comes when we stop letting the opinions and actions of others control our emotional state. People may try to make you feel small, insignificant, or inadequate, but you have the power to decide whether their words have any influence on you. When you let go of the need for validation from others, you step into a life of true freedom, a freedom that can't be taken away by external forces. This is where the Stoic practice of detachment becomes powerful. By detaching yourself from the need to please others or prove your worth, you free yourself from the weight of their judgments. You stop allowing them to dictate how you feel, and instead, you embrace the freedom of choosing your own emotional response. The true measure of your strength lies in your ability to maintain peace, regardless of the chaos or negativity around you. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perfectly encapsulates the Stoic approach to life. We cannot control what others say or do, but we can control how we react to it. The moment you stop giving energy to the negativity of others is the moment you truly reclaim your freedom. You're no longer shackled by their opinions. Instead, you live life on your terms, guided by your own values, goals, and aspirations. Let me share a story about Sophie. Sophie had always been an ambitious person, but the people around her constantly questioned her choices. They made sarcastic comments about her goals, suggesting that she was setting herself up for failure. At first, Sophie tried to defend herself, explaining why she believed in her vision. But the more she engaged with their negativity, the more exhausted she felt. One day, Sophie decided to stop arguing, stop explaining herself, and stop caring about their opinions. She chose to focus on her own journey and detached herself from the need for their approval. Over time, she realized that by letting go of their judgments, she felt lighter, more confident, and more focused. She embraced the freedom of living her life authentically, without the constant burden of seeking validation from others. So, how can you embrace the freedom of letting go? First, recognize that other people's opinions are just that, opinions. They don't define you unless you allow them to. Second, stop explaining yourself to those who don't support or understand your journey. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living your truth. Finally, focus on what truly matters: your growth, your values, and your peace. The moment you release the need for external validation, you step into a life that's entirely yours to control. At the end of the day, the greatest freedom you can achieve is the ability to live without the constant weight of others' expectations. When you let go of the need to please, you free yourself to live in alignment with your own purpose. You become unstoppable because no one else's opinions can touch you. And when you truly embrace this freedom, nothing and no one can ever make you feel small again. At the end of the day, remember this: no one, no matter how loud or harsh their words, can make you feel small unless you allow them to. Your worth is inherent. It's yours to define. And when you stop reacting to the negativity of others and focus on your own growth, that's when you truly reclaim your power. Don't let anyone's doubt, criticism, or attempt to belittle you shape your reality. Instead, rise above it. Let your actions speak louder than their words. Keep your eyes on your goals, stay true to who you are, and let your success be the ultimate response to those who try to tear you down. So, as you move forward, carry this with you. Your strength lies not in defending yourself against every negative comment, but in choosing to stand tall and keep going, no matter what. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment below, and share this with someone who needs to hear this message today. Your support means so much and helps us continue creating content to inspire and empower people like you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video that'll help you rise stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Keep moving forward. You're unstoppable,